I wanted to speak up about changes that are happening on YouTube because a lot of you are scared about the future of YouTube and the content creators you may follow. And if you are yourself a content creator or you want to be one, I feel that some worries need to be put to rest. I know a lot of YouTubers have already done this sort of video and nothing I say or do is going to really change much, but I feel that I need to speak up because people are panicking and I fully understand why. There's a lot of confusion flying around and a lot of fear-mongering is happening, and this needs to be extinguished. I can't answer all of your questions about this. All I can do is recommend you to do your research into this instead of scrambling around in a panic wondering if you're in violation of any of YouTube's policies or not. Because frankly, that is something we as content creators should actually already know the answer to. And YouTube now has a reputation of being extremely incompetent. Most of you will have heard of the FTC and this law, COPPA. What I have seen is a lot of people proclaiming how FTC have gone too far this time, or COPPA is a bad thing and needs to be stopped, or this is going to kill my channel, so I'm quitting YouTube altogether. Guys, when you create a product, there are guidelines you have to follow, especially when this product is exposed to the public. This includes online content. These guidelines and policies do change, and we as content creators need to know and understand these changes so that we stay within the law. The problems start when the websites we use to upload this content ignore these laws, because it is the content creators that end up being punished. Let me break this down for you as best as I can. The Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, is an independent agency of the United States government. It exists to make sure that the organizations that we as the public use follow certain guidelines to make sure that we, the public, remain safe and are treated fairly and lawfully when we use these things. It also exists to make sure that when organizations break the law, they face the appropriate penalties. YouTube has ignored the COPPA law and several other laws, which we will get to in a moment, and the FTC followed through with its mission and made sure that YouTube and Google, who own YouTube, pay the penalty. Let me clarify something here. The FTC is a good thing. Let's keep this in mind. Now let's move on to COPPA. In 1998, the FTC introduced a new law, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, or COPPA. This law imposes certain requirements on operators of websites or online services directed to children under 13 years of age, and on operators of other websites or online services that have actual knowledge that they are collecting personal information online from a child under 13 years of age. In other words, the FTC created COPPA to make sure that children, anyone under the age of 13, are safe when using social media websites. The problem is, YouTube ignored this law and content creators are now being punished for that. This is what people are in a panic over. Back in September of 2019, YouTube formally announced its plan to have creators label any videos of theirs that may appeal to children. Starting in January of 2020, if creators mark a video as directed at kids, data collection will be blocked for all viewers, resulting in lower ad revenue, and those videos will lose some of the platform's most popular features, including comments and end screens. It's a major change in how YouTube works and has left some creators clueless as to whether they're subject to the new rules or not. Now, I know not everyone monetizes their content, but many YouTubers rely on the website as their main source of income or as a creative outlet, or in my case, both. In my opinion, it is dangerous to put all of your eggs in one basket. I personally do monetize the majority of my content, but it is not my main source of income. I'm not going to say I'm not worried about how my channel will be affected, but I want to make sure that I have the correct information before deciding what to do going forward. And I also wanted to voice my opinions on this because I feel that you guys have the right to hear this. But I do know this: placing most of the burden on creators rather than YouTube itself won't do enough to protect children online, and being angry at YouTube is not going to help anyone. Within YouTube, it's clear that child-directed videos will have fewer advantages on the platform. The most obvious is the removal of targeted ads. But a number of other YouTube features are also impossible without personalized data. In particular, child-directed videos will no longer include a comment section, click-through info cards, end screens, notification functions, and the community tab. All powerful tools for driving viewers back to a channel. Why? Because no one under 13 should have a YouTube account in the first place, at least according to YouTube. Yeah, YouTube requires account holders to be 18, but a 13-year-old can sign up with a parent's permission. Despite these clearly stated and published age restrictions, large and growing numbers of children under 12 are using social media networks, often with their parents' knowledge and consent, but without their supervision. This is where I get a headache, because without educating children and parents and guardians about the dangers of being online in the first place, or, parents actually monitoring what their child is looking at online, we can't protect them or give them consent, mainly because it never really is defined how parental consent can be given to children when using social media. Guess how old YouTube's second biggest star is next to PewDiePie? 5 years old. And what's the most popular genre on YouTube? Toy and video game reviews. Who are the stars of these videos? Children! See the problem here? I should also mention that many states in America have no child labor laws when it comes to performance. A parent may employ their child at any age to work any hours as long as the work is non-hazardous and the child works under their parent or guardian supervision. Problem is, some parents and guardians understand how business and marketing works, but have no clue about how to keep their children safe when they use social media, or how to educate them on what to do and what not to do. Because to some parents and guardians, that's not their responsibility. It's the responsibility of the educational system and the social media networks themselves. But that's a topic for another video entirely. The consequences for not labeling a video as child-directed could be even more severe. In its September order, the FTC made it clear that it could sue individual channel owners who abuse this new labeling system. This is something else people are panicking over. Crucially, those lawsuits will fall entirely on channel owners rather than on YouTube itself. Under the settlement, YouTube's responsibility is simply to maintain the system and provide ongoing data updates. In other words, it's not taking responsibility for any of its mistakes. But as someone who currently has a copyright strike on their channel as a result of a false copyright claim on a song I listened to in a livestream that was labelled license free, I say, what else is new? I'm trying to not let my emotions dictate my actions at this moment, but as someone who has a terrible habit of bottling up my anger, I am losing my patience. Content creators like myself may not target children as the primary audience. I know that children do watch my content. When I'm at conventions, I do have a lot of children approach me, and this is humbling. It is humbling whenever anyone, regardless of their age, approaches me to tell me they watch my content. A lot of the subjects I cover are about media that is intended for children. The thing is, media that is intended for children is not just for children. It is for everyone. However, an intended audience doesn't always translate to actual audience. My channel is primarily about analysing animated movies and TV shows, or issues within the art industry in general, or character execution, or video blogs from comic conventions. Although some of the animated movies and shows I talk about may be intended for children, most fans of animated movies and TV shows are adults. This is a fact. I don't consider my content to be quote-unquote made for kids, so I have marked the majority of my videos as not suitable for children. On saying that, the safety of children online should be important to everyone, especially content creators. So remember, COPPA is actually a good thing. Keeping children safe online should be everyone's top priority. What is not good is how companies like YouTube and Google have ignored this law for so long, not only allowing children to access their website, but also to allow data to be collected from children and targeting them with advertising. There are children under 13 with successful YouTube channels. How the COPPA law is being implemented by YouTube is not good. Content creators are being punished for YouTube's incompetency. However, it is not YouTube that should be targeted when protesting how poorly this COPPA law is being implemented. It is the FTC. Why? because although the safety of children should always be top priority, the COPPA law itself is not only out of date but also out of touch with online culture and entertainment accessibility. The COPPA law was created in 1998 to protect the privacy of children under the age of 13. This is why it is stipulated by law that no one under the age of 13 should have social media accounts, and this includes YouTube. However, there are content creators on YouTube, as I've already said, who are under 13. The COPPA law protects the privacy of children, restricting digital entities from collecting personal information from users under the age of 13 without the express permission of their parents or guardians. To my knowledge, this law has only been updated once in 20 years. The COPPA law was introduced to address the rapid growth of online marketing techniques in the 90s that were targeting children. Revealing personal information online is dangerous, no matter your age. Keeping yourself safe online is something everyone needs to be educated about, not just children. So what's the problem? The COPPA law was introduced in 1998, the same year Google was founded. YouTube wasn't founded until 2005 and foolishly ignored the COPPA law. And guess who bought YouTube in 2006? Yep, Google. Guess who has to pay for YouTube's child privacy violation? Google. But here's the thing. COPPA was introduced mainly to protect children on social media platforms that existed in the 90s. And guess what? The law has apparently only been amended once in 20 years. You know what has changed a lot in 20 years? Social media. You know what else has changed a lot? Technology! Let me put this into perspective. This is what a mobile phone looked like 20 years ago. You could make calls and text someone with a phone like this, but you could not access the internet with one. This is what computers looked like 20 years ago. Things like computers and mobile phones were in common use, but were not yet daily commonplace in the home or personal everyday use yet. You could not access the internet on a mobile phone in 1998. And social media? Most social media websites came about in the early 2000s. Sites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, etc. did not exist when COPPA was introduced. Now, mobile phones are ideally mobile computers we store all our information on. We carry them around in our pockets like we would our wallet, and for some of us, our mobile phone is a lifeline. And nowadays, the average age that someone owns a mobile phone for the first time is 10 years old. Though not everyone uses a mobile phone 24/7, I think it's safe to say that pretty much everyone over the age of 13 uses social media, might it be for social, educational, or work-related reasons. So surely the COPPA law should be updated to keep up with technological advancements and how society has changed when it comes to how social media is used on a daily basis. Especially when children as young as 10 have access to their own personal mobile phone. Technology and how we use social media has changed drastically in the last 2 decades, and the law needs to change with it. This is what we as content creators should be addressing. Yes, we as content creators should be asking YouTube why we're being punished for their lack of brain cells, but stopping making content or boycotting YouTube altogether, or throwing your toys out of the pram for one day out of protest, is not the answer. If you want to protest the changes, go straight to the source. Go to the FTC. I've included links in the description of this video on where to go. YouTube has treated content creators like sugar honey iced tea. But YouTube itself is not who you should be angry at. It is the FTC and how an out-of-date law is being implemented poorly by YouTube. So what exactly will happen in the future? Honestly, I have no clue. It's really uncertain, and that scares me. I will say this though, closing your channel, quitting YouTube altogether, giving up on content creating is not the answer. Please do your research before acting. I can't tell you what to do, and I can't give you legal advice, but what I can do is tell you not to give up. Please. My motto is stay creative. The future of my content may or may not be on YouTube, but I know I'm not going to stop creating content. I'm not letting fear dictate what I do going forward, and I encourage you guys to not stop what you are doing if you are a content creator or want to be one. The future of content may not be on YouTube, but content creation has been a big part of my life for the last 7 years, and so much has happened in my life as a result. I am not stopping. I am staying. I'm not going anywhere. I'm Mad Munchkin. Stay creative.